Everybody, welcome back. My name is Rob Peoples, but you can call me Peeps, and I'm joined by my friend, Mr. Joshua Grossman. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Peeps. Thanks for having me back.
All right, today isn't about me or you, though, man. We have a really incredible guest with us today. We are being joined by Oliver Walker with West Capital Lending. Now, I have known Oliver for almost 2 decades. He has actually done podcasts and other cool media things with me over the years. So when I was able to connect with him and say, hey, you know who's going to have great information to share with real estate agents? This guy. So I was so excited to connect with you, Oliver, and have you and bring you on so that realtors can get a perspective on how mortgages and realty and sales work together. So welcome, Oliver. It's great to see you, my man.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's truly an honor. I can reciprocate back to you. I mean, you are a legend in sales training in your own name. So it's an honor to be here. I'm glad we linked back up on LinkedIn, and here we are doing the podcast. And I, of course, get to meet a new friend in Josh as well. So it's great.
Awesome. Well, I'm happy to be here too.
Why are we here, Joshua?
This channel is all about helping realtors get better, right? The title is Six-Figure Agent Secrets. And anybody that knows anything about real estate knows that there's an extremely high fallout rate. Somewhere in 75, 80% of realtors don't make it. So I am on a mission to help those folks out, because why am I doing that? I don't get paid for being here. Nothing that happened, but it does give me the ability to have better partners when I refer things out of state, that kind of stuff, as well as just a big part of me loves to be able to give back on what I've learned over the years. So if I can bring some value to the table and help other people be successful, that's why I'm here.
Absolutely. Same here, man. We're all just one big community across real estate, right? And I think that's a really great reason why Oliver's here, is because when it comes to the home buying process, mortgages and real estate agents, there's your peas and carrots. You know what I mean? Those two things generally go together unless you've got a buyer that's bringing a briefcase full of cash, which isn't very common. I'm sure you can agree, Joshua, that it's more common to see financing than not. So enough hearing from the two of us. I want to hear from Mr. Oliver Walker. So one of the questions that we pose to Oliver to think about for us is, we want to get realtors to think about things through a different lens, right, Joshua? Not the lens that they look through every single morning when they wake up with their coffee and keep looking at the same version of things, right? So what I wanted to ask Ollie to put together was, Oliver, what are 3 things you want all realtors to know about working with a mortgage pro? What do you think they know that they probably don't think about?
Yep. So I put some thoughts down here. And by the way, you can call me Ollie. We're friends for 2 decades at this point, so you know you can call me Ollie.
Cool. I just wanted to make sure I was being
the best initial intros. Any clients, if we end up working together, then I'm Ollie to everybody in my family and all my friends. So
perfect.
I think about the 2 decades that I've been in the mortgage industry. I spent the vast majority of that time in a call center type environment, and I did everything under the sun as far as mortgage origination. I did refinances, I've done home equity loans, I've done home equity lines of credit, and of course, the reason why we're here talking today, the purchase side of the business, right? So I look back to the early days of my career. I actually just put together a video about my very first loan that I originated that will go out to the social media game pretty soon here. But I think to myself, wow, the way that I handle my business now, 21 years into my career, versus how I handled it back at the beginning of my career, I would probably cringe if I was thinking about me working with a realtor at 22 years old and what that realtor maybe thought about me back then. So I think that the first thing I really wanted to touch on was just the vast difference in skill level in the mortgage industry from the different loan officers that you might end up talking to. So a client comes into contact with a mortgage loan originator many different ways, right? If you're a client and you're perusing Zillow or Redfin or any of the other online sites, and you're like, okay, this looks good, hopefully you're putting the right foot forward first and saying, okay, I got to figure out how I can, pay for that $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 home in today's market. And you're thinking to yourself, okay, I need to get my financing lined up because I don't have that bag of cash just sitting around to walk into any of these properties and purchase it. So you're going to get introduced to a mortgage lender somehow, some way, right? Most people would go directly to the internet and say mortgage rates in my area. And what happens? You plug your info online, you're going to get a million phone calls from a million different people. It's hard as a consumer for you to figure out who's legit and who's not. I think most consumers shop. And Rob, like, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What's the first question anybody asks me as a mortgage loan originator?
What's your rate?
100%. What's your rate?
Yeah, see, I nailed it.
So that's how most people walk around shopping for a mortgage and trying to determine who their mortgage lender is, right? There's a lot of folks out there that will cut corners and not educate clients and say, hey, here's my interest rate, knowing that they're quoting on the low end of the interest rate range. They're, quoting an interest rate just to get the client to put their foot through the door, right? That person might have never done a purchase transaction before, but the client's saying, hey, this person sounds good because they told me a lower rate than everybody else did. And that to me is a huge problem. So if you're a real estate agent, obviously at some point you're going to have that financing conversation with your client and say, hey, who are you working with? What's going on? What are they offering to you? Let's talk about it. And then from there, I think that the agent has to do a really good job of essentially making sure that the financing side of things is secure, because the relationship between the lender and the loan originator is paramount to the transaction going smoothly and actually closing, as it should, with everybody happy at the closing table. So I don't know if you want me to expound on that anymore, but I think as an agent, especially a new agent that's coming into the industry, you want to be very careful about who your clients are working with and trusting, and make not necessarily saying, hey, you can't work with that person, you need to work with this person, but doing a good job of building that relationship really quickly right up front with the loan officer. Because on the same kind of token, it could be that you might have picked up the phone and called the call center or had someone reach out to you that has 20 years of experience that's going to do a fantastic job for you as a client and as for your client as the real estate agent. And if you have a quick conversation and you talk to them about it, I've had many situations where someone's been like, hey, my realtor wants me to use their lender, so I love you, I've really enjoyed working with you, but I just have to use them, even though I knew I was doing a better job. I had a unique product that was specific to my company, and I hate to see that happen as well.
Right, Joshua, I'm curious, just tying into what Ali's saying is, have you ever had a story or a horror story as we approach Halloween with, not vetting a mortgage professional prior and running
Absolutely.
into some sticky...
Actually, it happened when I was younger, man. When I was very, very new. I hadn't got my real estate license. This was in 2002, because I was licensed in 2003, and I was buying a house, and I picked a friend that was a mortgage broker, and he did an absolute I had a mortgage broker. The guy was a rock star out of Portland, helped me buy my house there. I moved over to Bend, and my first purchase here, I decided to use my friend, and my friend absolutely destroyed the deal. I had to call the other mortgage broker and say, hey man, can you still save this? We had 15 days to go, and he jumped through all the hoops and he made it happen. And so, I would encourage all of you agents out there, whether you're new or experienced ones, you probably understand that the relationship needs to be there, but it's not always the rate, right? There's so many things that need to happen. Obviously, you want a good rate and you want to pay the right amount for it, but you have to have somebody that's going to get the job done and communicate. So that's what's super important to me. And I'll just throw this tip out, and Oliver probably knows this. If a mortgage broker calls me and says, hey, what can I do to earn your business? And they said, I'm on time, I'll communicate, I'll do all this thing. I said, that's great, because that's what I expect you to do. How can you help me grow my business? Right? I'm not talking to anybody about anything unless they can help me grow my business, right? And that's not getting deals closed, because I expect you to do that, right? So it's what's beyond that is very, very important to me.
What's your value prop, right?
Great question. Every mortgage pro that hopefully is watching this should ask themselves, right? You got me to laugh there, Joshua, because to your point, I expect you to be transparent. I expect you to respond to my emails. Yeah, you should call me back when I call you as soon as possible. Right? Yep, so it's funny how often I hear salespeople in general hang their hat on the things that should be occurring anyway.
Man, I get probably, 15, 20 emails, texts a week from people telling me the exact same thing. And sometimes I'll pick the phone up and call them and be like, hey, you've been texting me now for 6 months, right? I appreciate the follow-up, but you've never done anything for me except for send me markets in a minute, or, hey, the Fed's meeting today. You don't think I know these things? Like I'm a real estate agent. I'm a
Right.
real estate agent. I understand what's happening today, where the rates are going, all that kind of stuff. So how can you help me grow my business? And like, I generally love to help people. So I will often tell mortgage brokers, they call me, I'll be like, hey, like, here's a little tip for you. Why don't you offer me something that somebody else is not offering me?
Right. Right. Very good point. So, Ali, going back to what we were talking about with the three things, is there anything additional? What else does a realtor need to know about a mortgage?
I'll go deeper on the first kind of bullet point there. And I want to kind of highlight two. So mortgage loan originators, and you've trained many of them over the years, Peeps. You have on one hand, your salesperson, right?
Yeah.
Someone that's really slick. They're going to talk a good game. They get the client, rapport built, all that kind of stuff. They have no clue what they're doing when it comes to guidelines, right? A lot of those folks are the newer folks in the industry. They have no clue what they're even talking about, but they sound great. They're excitable. They get the client all super excited. And then all of a sudden the transaction falls apart because they didn't ask a question that they were supposed to.
Right.
Or they didn't know the guidelines, or they thought they could do something that they can't. So on the other hand, you have your technicians, right? I picture these folks sitting down in their basement, originating mortgages in their spare time, reading the Fannie Mae guideline book, reading through loan LP results, things like that. Those are your technicians, people that know everything about everything. But as far as a communication level goes, they're not super great at communicating. If you're a real estate agent and you send a client to a technician and you say, hey, what's your rate? And they just deliver the news and they say, hey, rates are at 7%. The Fed, we thought they were going to lower rates, but they didn't. That type of thing, that can kill a sale very quickly. That can take the wind out of the sails from your client as well. The client might lose their excitement about buying a home. So
Great point.
There's a happy medium right in the middle here, which is someone that can do both, right? Someone that is a technician that knows their guidelines. And to be quite honest, you have to have some time in the industry and to have made some mistakes in order to learn from those mistakes, to know things that you can and can't do. But someone that's also a salesperson at the same time that can help push forward and facilitate a transaction for you. So I think if you're picking a mortgage lender, I see this all the time as well, when I get that first opportunity to work with a real estate agent for the first time, and they come back to me and they're like, hey, like, you made my client feel really, really good about the conversation and about, even though rates are a little bit higher right now, that there might be potential opportunities in the future for them. And by the way, the transaction went very smoothly. There were no surprises, no hidden fees. Like, everybody was really happy at the end of the day. So I'm gonna call you my mortgage lender now, if that's okay. I think that's a combo of the fact that I'm a technician, I know what I'm doing, I can manage a transaction, I know what everybody expects out of me, and I go above and beyond that. I try to deliver the books right behind me over here, Unreasonable Hospitality, if you guys haven't read that book, phenomenal book. But at the same time, I'm making everybody feel great about what they're doing there. I've always prided myself on making my clients, and especially my agent partners, feel like they're a friend rather than just someone that we're conducting business with. So,
I agree.
Looking for a lender, find you someone that can do both.
Ali, I think in a world where, you look left, you hear about AI. You look right, you hear about AI. You hear about AI is doing this for underwriting. You hear about how AI is doing this for that, right? But I'm sorry, man. At the end of the day, when it comes to a real estate transaction, which is a very, very, very human thing, in my opinion,
100%.
I'd rather be working with somebody like you, a real technician who has 20 years of experience, who has seen it all, just like me as a sales coach, right? Like, I've seen it all. You can't surprise me with a personality of a salesperson anymore, and AI can't. It'll never replace that, So I think in a world where we're being force-fed this idea that technology is what makes that lender you're choosing just the greatest thing in the world, I think it should be questioned a little bit.
Yep.
So any real estate professionals watching, like, Oliver Walker is that. He's your walking, talking 20-year expert that has seen it all. And I'd take somebody like that over, a fun algorithm all day long, just between us.
So Oliver, you could summarize the last one, right? Like, like, so when a real estate agent is looking for a partner,
Yep.
what should they pick in general? Like, what should be the criteria that you're looking for from your point of view?
I'll sum it up with a question, actually, because I think we've talked a little bit about the progression of a career of a mortgage loan originator. Everybody's got to start somewhere, right? But if I'm looking to weed out anybody that I probably don't want to work with, if I'm a real estate agent for a mortgage lender, I would ask the question, if I need to get a hold of you this Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m., will you be available? And the answer to that question, I think, is going to be very telling, because a mortgage pro will make themselves available, right? I got 2 kids that are in competitive soccer. I have a family. I have 2 dogs, 2 boys. I'm super busy. And I like to think I have an active lifestyle. I'm outside all the time doing fun stuff. But if someone needs me in a pinch, I'm going to be available at 3 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon to talk to them and probably get them, whatever document they need within the hour, 2 hours tops. I've always got my technology standing by, but there's many years throughout my career where on a Friday night, I was so done with work that I closed my computer and I was just done. Like, I was unavailable. It could wait until Monday morning. And I understand wholly, and it's a mental trend, kind of progression that you go through. You have to be mature in order to deal with purchase business, right? And I think that's what's lacking in many cases. So if I'm an agent and I'm really trying to find someone that's going to do a great job, and you should be able to pick up, if you're a real estate agent, you should be a pretty good judge of character and whether someone's going to be able to help you out or not. Ask them that question. Are you going to be around at 3 p.m. on Sunday? If they say no, I'm busy, then you probably want to find someone that will be able to pick up that phone call, because when you need them, you want them to be there.
I think that's amazing answer, and I agree with you 100%. That and that goes for real estate agents in general too. It's like, you have to be available. Like, when your client calls, this is a speed to lead kind of a thing. When someone calls, you better pick up your phone, because if you're not answering and talking to them, they are calling the very next person that will pick up the phone. And it blows my mind that I get calls from folks that they're like, "Oh wow, you picked up your phone." I'm like, "Well, yeah, because I'm a real estate agent, and you're calling because you need help, right? So how can I help you?"
It always amazed me how many realtors you see posting from the gym at like 1 p.m. in the afternoon on a Tuesday. Yeah. It's because they're working at 9 o'clock that night. Like, there's no 40 hours. It's not 9 to 5. It's definitely not 5 days a week. It's a 7-day-a-week sport.
Yeah.
I'd like to get to a point where I'm working less than 50 or 60 hours a week, but collectively, right? I might work 5 hours on a Sunday and then turn around on Monday. And if there's nothing to tend to and everything's run smoothly, might just work 3 hours on a Monday and take my time then to rest and recharge.
That's a business owner mindset right there, though. That's a business owner mindset, and really some of the best advice. It reminds me of the movie The Bronx Tale. Have you guys ever seen that movie? The Bronx Tale with De Niro's in it. Anyway, it's a great movie. Look it up for yourself. But there's a scene in that movie that's the door test, where, anyway, just go look it up for yourself. But seriously, it's a good thing to look up. But it's exactly like, what a great simple little test to judge the character. One question can figure out, is this worth my time or not? Joshua, what'd you think of that, man?
I think you're 100% right, because I can sum up most people I interact with on the mortgage broker very quickly, right? Like, if I ask them if they're going to be available and they're not, or I call them and I go straight to voicemail, right? Like, if I call during business hours, right? I try to, be respectful of people's time, right? But if I call during business hours and I go straight to voicemail and I don't get a text like instantly that says, "Hey, I'm on the phone with the client," then I'm moving on to the next person. I have an amazing mortgage professional I work with. His name's Garrett Myers. He's with Elevate Mortgage, and Garrett is he's in his early 20s, and he was a Division I baseball player. Decided he didn't want to go pro, and now he's doing mortgages, and the guy is just an absolute rock star, and he answers his phone all the time. It doesn't matter. It's Sunday, Saturday, 10 o'clock at night. Like, we have conversations all the time, because it's about taking care of our clients, and that's what we both believe in, and that's what's very important to me, is taking care of the client should be first and foremost.
I hate to go down this road, but you said something there. It's something we both believe in. And I think that's an opportunity for mortgage pros too, Ali, is, there's a shared responsibility with a client. It's not just, it's your client and it's my client, it's our client. And, there's any new mortgage pros watching this, you've really got to understand that, because if you don't approach it from that, then you're going to be laying off the wrong impression from the rip. You know what I mean? So.
Yep. Yeah, there's something very special about attending a closing with a client, because you understand like how big of a moment that is. When you're behind the phones in a call center and you're like, okay, did that one close? Let me check my screen real quick and see if it closed. We're good. But when you attend a closing and you're like, you see the tears of joy and you're like, okay, like, let me think about the opposite of that situation. Like if I mess this up, right? I think every one of us has heard a story where someone's got a U-Haul packed up and, the ball got dropped somewhere along the line. So I think about that a lot. I'm never going to let anyone down. I'm knocking on wood here. Not going to let anyone down, because I'm going to do my job right up front and make sure everything is set up correctly.
Nice.
I think you just said something there that I think everyone should pay attention. Whether you're a mortgage pro, whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're new or old, going to closings. I'm blown away when I hear people, like I'm in so many social Facebook groups and stuff, and they're like, how many people attend closings? And, oh, I'm too busy, or I don't go to those, or I go to every single closing, I go to every single inspection, because this is a tip for you new agents out there, and even new experienced ones that think you may not need to go. I don't think anyone's so busy that they can't go and show their client the appreciation of going through the entire contract. And there's been so many questions that I've answered at the closing table about the loan, right? And to have a mortgage broker there with you, your guy, that is, or gal, that is huge. So that would be something I would just throw out there, is like, if you haven't thought about doing this, or if you think that you're too busy, schedule it. Like, watch some of our videos that Peeps talks about scheduling your day. You can schedule anything in there and make everything work. And you showing up and being there, both on the mortgage side and the real estate side, is extremely important every single time.
No doubt.
You get to a certain level and the monetary reward just becomes, that's like, that's going to be there. But when you get the emotional reward of going to a closing and you see your client, you shake their hands, like next time they need to do a transaction in real estate or mortgage, who's the first person they think of? It's the person that showed up at closing to say, congratulations, I care enough about being here. So yeah, I love doing that. It's when I spent my last 2 years at the previous company, I was part of the local group, and that was our main focus, was working locally here in Phoenix. And it really opened my eyes to the emotional reward of the job that made it, like that is more rewarding in my opinion than collecting a paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, this can't, I talk about this a lot. The reason for you doing this job, if you're an agent or if you're a mortgage broker, the reason can't be because I get a paycheck. It has to be something different. I encourage everybody to look back through the channel. You can see my why, you can see Rob's why, Peeps' why, and this really is about helping people. And if you help enough people, you'll get what you want, right? And get what you need to support your family. But, figure out your why, and and that will take you a long ways in this business, because people can see if you're commission breath, right? If you have that I gotta get paid, right? Like, people can see that and they don't want to work with that person. People want to work with the person that wants to help them, and if you do a good job, at the end of the day, you'll get what you need to continue pushing forward your business.
They can see your commission breath.
Yeah, absolutely.
I loved that. That is a really, like, I could literally visually see like dollars coming out of someone's mouth. Like, that was powerful. But anyway, so part of our channel, Joshua, is you're the real estate expert, right? Bringing me on the side of things so I can bring different sales perspectives to the channel. So the other half of this interview with Oliver is going to be sales based. So, Ollie, I was asking you to think of some sales skills that you are best at. And just share, like, what are those and how can maybe people be more like you, to be honest? Yep. How do you be more like you?
So I think this first one, it works for mortgage loan originators. It works for real estate salespeople. It works for anybody in sales. It's not a tactic, right? I coined it bulletproof mindset many years ago. I read a book way back in the day. I think it was one of my college, kind of writing. I had to read this book. It was called The Art or The War of Art by a guy named Stephen Pressfield. And there was a section in there about the expectation of adversity. And essentially what it is, hey, kind of expect the worst to happen, but plan and prepare for the best to happen. So, I would say if I look back over my 20-year career in mortgage sales, almost 21 years at this point, I spent a whole lot of time worrying about things that never actually ended up happening. Markets, interest rate movements, is this loan going to close on time, this kind of stuff. And there's a hell of a lot of time spent in there worrying about something that never actually happened. So as you mature in your career and you start to understand that it's really all about your systems and processes, as long as you're putting one foot in front of the other every single day, things are generally going to work out okay for you. So just having that bulletproof mindset and knowing that not every single day is going to be, hey, I'm getting a property under contract, or hey, I got a new listing, or hey, I originated 2 new mortgages today, or hey, that client sent their docs back. Like, you're going to have some days that just kind of suck. There's no, kind of reward that comes out of the day. But as long as you're doing the things that you need to do, when I think of real estate agents, I'm thinking like, are you doing open houses right now? I have an agent that's here in my local market in Phoenix that just completed 100 open houses in 100 days. Like, amazing stuff, right? So she's obviously, she's going to get business from that. She already is. But that would be kind of my first sales related thing. It's not really even sales. It's just to prepare your mind for sales. You're coming into every single day with a positive outlook because you did the work the day before.
I like that. You guys are just absolutely throwing out bomb quotes today. But plan and prepare for the best to happen. I haven't heard that angle of that before. So very cool. Plan and prepare for the best to happen. We always look at the other side of that. Plan for the worst. But how about plan and prepare for the best?
Am I allowed to date myself here? Am I allowed to timestamp an event that's happening today on this podcast?
Yes.
Sure.
Federal Reserve is making an announcement in 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Yep.
I've got 14 loans in my pipeline that are floating right now. And so every single one of those clients is aware that I might be clicking the button in 1 hour and 25 minutes from now to lock their loan in. They're already prepped. They're already good to go. I've told them that if interest rates are coming down and the 10-year treasury bond looks like it's coming down, we're going to continue floating because we might be able to capture you some more savings. But if they say, hey, we're not going to cut rates in December or October, that's going to spike the market. I'm already ready to go.
Yeah.
Nice. Plan and prepare for the best.
That right there. Okay. So that tells me that you are paying attention to what's going on, right? And so if you are an agent and you're happen to be in the Phoenix area and you're looking for someone to work with, like, you should at least give them a call, because that's important right there. Because like, some people don't have any idea what that even means, especially probably newer mortgage brokers. They're just like, oh yeah, we're lock you in, we're good to go, right? But if we can save you, geez, 0.25%, there's talk that it may go down 0.5% today. Like, if it goes to 0.5%, like, the implosion of business is going to start. Because the last study I read, there's like 9 million people right now sitting on the sideline waiting to see what happens, which I absolutely know that, because it is definitely slower this year than it was last year. And, people are waiting to see what happens. So
I'll go one step further on my social media preparedness. So, Rob, you made a comment that my videos have been pretty sharp. I pay that guy a lot of money, so they better be sharp. I recorded last week with him my month's worth of content. And I said, hey, the Federal Reserve is making an announcement next week. I'd like to get ahead of the game. We made 4 different videos to talk about the 4 different potential outcomes. Either interest rates stay steady, they get cut by 1/4 point, but they say that they're not going to cut any further. They cut a 1/4 point and they say they're going to do further cuts, or they go crazy and cut by 0.5%. I've got all 4 of those videos in the can, ready to go to release one today in about an hour and a half here.
Awesome.
In like 3 minutes after the Fed makes their announcement, I can drop that video. I'm good to go.
My man, that's kind of like Super Bowl t-shirts. You know what I mean? You make the t-shirt for both teams.
Yep.
So that the minute the game's over, the commercial comes on, order your swag for the
the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl champions 2025 did not.
Yeah, but then they sell the shirts at $65, so it's like they're making their money up.
Yep, exactly.
It's funny. It's good
Awesome
stuff. What else you got? Any other tips there?
So, my favorite. I think if I asked you to dig deep in your mind and I didn't tee you up for this, you would know the thing that I love about sales the most: analogies.
Yeah.
I absolutely love analogies. In fact, Rob, if there's one reason for you to get an Instagram account, it's to see the videos that I'm dropping about analogies on there on my Mortgage Oliver account. I did one just last week. It came out. I actually got some real kind of angry commenters on TikTok of all places. I'm doing these videos for Instagram, but I'm also posting them to TikTok.
Right.
Go to LinkedIn if they're professional, kind of targeted. But I did one that was, if you're in a house that no longer fits your needs because you have a 2.99% mortgage or less, it's kind of like hanging onto your Corvette when you have a growing family and it's no longer relevant. It doesn't work anymore, but you're going to act like the Corvette still works for you because of the fact that it's a cool, it's flashy, right? I think what I said was a flashy car is like a flashy mortgage rate. If it no longer serves your needs, you should probably trade it in and go for a minivan and serve your family's needs. So I freaking love analogies. I think what it does is it really humanizes a business process and makes it much more understandable for clients. So that's one example. I've got an absolute ton of them. I just love analogies. So I would, try to, if you're a real estate agent and you're watching this, I would think of a part of the process that maybe is causing you bottlenecks consistently and try to try to reframe it for the client and put it in a different terminology, something that is very visual for them so that they can take a step back and say, okay, that makes sense. Like I'm right now, this 2-bedroom condo that, we're trying to fit 5 people in this 2-bedroom condo. It's not working anymore. I've got a Corvette right now. I need to trade it in. I need to go do something. I need to make it change. Like those types of things activate people. And I found that over many, many years.
Selling with a story. I think, Rob, I think Peeps, you've talked about that in a couple of your videos, or you're going to. And
I'm ridiculously passionate about that. It's scientific. It's not even a feeling. It's a fact. So scientific. I'm a huge fan of analogies, like probably the biggest ever. Because I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you guys. Listen to the words I say right now. Joshua, Ali, listen to this. The man had leathery hands. The man had leathery hands. When I said that, did you guys feel the leather?
Yeah.
I bet you $100 you did. Does it feel a little like you feel like you're going to sneeze a little bit? Like you, I don't like that. That's the power of using language to your advantage. Is not just descriptive language like that, but an analogy can get something like the person to see it. Yep. So when Ali said the Corvette, did you all see a Corvette? Because I sure as heck did.
Yeah, I saw a red one actually. I saw a red Corvette. That was my in my
early
mind's
90s.
eye.
It was an early 90s one.
Yeah. It was 100%. It had the big, the flared up front fenders and the wing in the back and
lights that pop up.
Yep,
buddy.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. But the thing is because case in point, it happened with both Joshua and I. But what's happening inside your brain, those of you listening, is it's releasing chemicals, trust hormones. When you hear good stories and analogies and see things, you are literally building trust. I'm not joking. So sales is more than just being flashy and having great words. Things like Ali is saying with analogies, you can literally have hormones released in a person that calms them and makes you more trusted.
I've got another good one here, which I think, we're starting to see the emergence in the real estate industry of the flat fee broker, someone that's willing to do, list your house for $1,000 or something along those lines. So I actually used this on the phone many times back at the old organization, back when I was a phone sales guy. I would say, look, this transaction, it's a financial transaction. It's one of, probably 5 or 10 mortgages you'll do in your entire life. It's a big deal, right? Maybe not quite as life or death as skydiving, but it's basically like the same thing. You're choosing someone to jump out of a plane with right now when you enter into this transaction. So do you want to go try to find someone to jump out of a plane with that has a history of doing jumps and getting people to the ground safely? They've got reviews online. They've got a track record. They're very well known. Or do you want to go find a guy that's cheaper because he's got a plane and a parachute? I love that. It's just so visceral. It's like, all right, I'm going to jump out of a plane, but would I trust someone just because they're the cheapest? Absolutely.
Interesting.
So I love that analogy. It really paints a picture, and it makes people laugh too, which I think is another major key.
Yeah, it's important to take the edge off. So I have a question for you, Oliver. What do you do to help your agents out. You know, I heard a story about the person that's doing 100 open houses. That's
Yep.
amazing. Kudos to her. What kind of stuff do you offer outside the, I pick up my phone and I'll do a good job? What do you offer to prospective agents that they could help, maybe, especially in your area? I don't know if you do nationwide loans or not, or you focus
Yep.
just Phoenix, but how do you help someone be successful?
I don't want to step on Garrett's toes. He's a former D1 athlete, and he's doing a great job for you. So, but I'm licensed in 26 states, so chances are, if you reach out, I can help out, or I can get you with someone that can. I like to think, in best case scenario for me, especially with a newer agent, like I'm going to elevate their game, right? If they're an agent, maybe they're unsure of their self and their business. If they refer someone over to me to help with their mortgage, I'm gonna elevate that experience to the next level and make sure that client goes back to the agent and is like, wow, like you sent me to a guy that I really vibed with. I really felt great about working with that dude. So that's really what I would aim to bring.
Great point.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I reached out to he's actually a high school classmate of mine. Josh, you may know him. His name's Joshua Smith. He's got he's an EXP broker. His slogan is GSD mode, done. He's awesome. But I reached out to him before going to the self-gen mortgage side of the world. And I was like, okay, like, what does it take? Do you think I should do this? And he said, what's your value prop? And he said the same things that you said earlier on in this conversation, which everybody should pick up their phone. Everybody should get the loan closed on time. Everybody should have good pricing. Like, what's your value prop? And I didn't have an answer for that question at that point in time. So over the years, last 3 years, I would say, as I'm figuring out the self-gen side of the business and how to give a value prop to an agent, and I'm giving away one of my trade secrets here, by the way, but one of my slogan that I live by when it comes to working with a new real estate partner, I will never be the guy that's just going to call and say, hey, who do you got for me? Can we work together? My goal with every agent, is to bring them a client first. Right. So I'm working on my own marketing, right? The Instagram, I'll be full disclosure, I'm spending about $4,000 a month with my marketing guy right now, just to try to cultivate local Phoenix business. And the end result for me with that, in an ideal scenario, is to take a cultivated client to a real estate agent and say, hey, everybody else is approaching you and saying, who do you have for me? I'm going to approach you and say, here's a client for you. I'm going to show you how damn good I am in this transaction. And hopefully that will compel you to send me clients back in the future if they need a recommendation for a mortgage guy. I feel like that's the way to go. You got to bring value. And in this market right now, where things haven't been phenomenal the last 2 or 3 years, you really have to put a meal on someone's plate in order to get them to entertain having a relationship with you.
I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the head, man. If you're a real estate agent watching this and you've not been in the business for a while, you will hear a lot of promises. You'll find very few people that actually follow through with them. The amount of deals I've been given by a mortgage broker over the 23 years is less than I can count on one hand, right? But the ones that I did get given to me by a mortgage broker, I remember those people 100%, because they brought something to my business, and maybe they're testing you out. Maybe they want to see if you know what you're doing as a real estate agent, because we all know that once you get your license, you most likely know how to not go to jail, but you don't really know how to sell a house, right? Or because you never are actually selling a house. I've never sold a house in my life. I've helped lots of people find their home, but there's never been a selling aspect to it, right? So if someone can bring you that value, that's something definitely to think. I mean, that's awesome that you are spending your own money to grow that business for other people. So that's the spirit of giving, in my opinion, right?
The exponential. I mean, the exponential potential on that's insane. I mean, you great tip, Ali, because I mean, if one realtor brings you business and then you get 30 loans this year, I mean, that's better marketing dollars than I could possibly imagine. So really, really interesting.
I think it shows. Yeah, it shows the agent that you're in it with them. My top partners are on the bus stops. Their advertisements. When I go to the grocery store here in Phoenix and Desert Ridge, my guy Kevin Owens is on the grocery carts, right? My neighborhood publication, my partner Lauren Ballard, you open up the magazine and she's right there in my neighborhood advertising. Like, who am I to come in and say, hey guys, who do you got for me? You spent all those advertising dollars, now send them along to me when they're ready. Like, no, let's get in the trenches together. Let's market together. Let's do this together. And, I will bring you a client and do the best that I can to tee them up, because I know that your personality will work really well with this client. So that's how I approach my business.
That's awesome. Those guys should talk to us about Epic, because not only can they be on a bus bench, but they get a free billboard too if they're an Epic. So
no kidding, really?
Yeah, free billboard. Yep. If you are an agent with Epic Realty, you get a free digital billboard.
I'm going to point something out because I hope there's some mortgage pros watching here too. Hopefully a few anyway. But Ali, you said something that stood out to me, and I hope every mortgage pro hears this. Your goal is, sure, it's to impress your client, right? Mm-hmm. Naturally. But I think your goal should be to impress the real estate agent. Because I think if your goal is to impress the real estate agent, your client will be taken care of as a byproduct. So change your mindset. Of course, it's kind of going back to what we said earlier. Of course, you're going to communicate. Of course, you're going to be transparent, right? Of course, you're going to take care of your client. So how about you change your frame of mind? Your goal is now to impress the realtor.
Yep. A little phrase.
Your game goes through the roof.
I say this all the time to agents. I say, look, the client's the client, and because they're working with the both of us, they're going to have a great experience, but you are my client. I'm looking to make sure I do a great job for you. I'll use an analogy here. A client, as far as income goes, right? And I'll get, dirty with the terminology here, but as far as income goes, procuring a client is like picking an apple off a tree and taking a bite and having a piece of fruit in your hand. Finding an agent relationship that you can cultivate is like planting a tree, right? They're going to continue producing fruit as long as you keep taking care of the tree.
Yep. I think ideally, you want two trees growing side by side, growing at equal places, getting equal water. When you get to that point, two trees are standing real tall above the rest of them. You know what I mean? So I think that's the ultimate goal. Look at us in these analogies, these metaphors and trees and stuff. It's good stuff. But Ali, any last tips for us? Any last sales tips that you had in the can for us?
I think the final thought that I would leave you with, and you've heard enough of my call clips over the years to know that I'm making a true statement here, but I am as friendly as I can be. I'm always working towards a close with my client. So that, I think, if you're a real estate agent and you're out showing a client 30 homes over the course of a weekend, but you're not asking them the next steps questions. Which ones are you liking? Which ones are we going to set a second showing for? Which one would you like to make an offer on, right? You're doing yourself a disservice. And it's the same with a mortgage guy, right? We used to have, I think you remember the call clip, Mr. Way Too Much for Poor Builder. I think you might have even made that back in the day. Anybody can build a relationship and have a good conversation and make a friend, but it's the ability to push things forward and take things forward to the next step that separates the closers from the folks that are just on the phone with clients all the time.
I didn't make that, but I wish I did. But that sounds hilarious.
I think you can take that a step further too, and understand that, like, asking the right questions. So first of all, showing someone 30 houses in a weekend is ludicrous. Like, you should never show someone 30 houses. Like, if you're a new agent, and you have a client that they're not buying a house, that's probably never going to happen. They're just wasting your time. So you should ask people. The way that I've always done this is I ask them to rate every house that we see, right? Hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, where's this at, right? And I always start the conversation with all my clients is unless you're building your own house, you're not going to check every single box. It's almost a statistical improbability, 100% that you're going to find everything you want in a house. But if we can check 70% of your boxes, that's probably your house, right? And then have them rate what they look at. We just looked at a house watching. I hand them my MLS printout and I'm like, hey, I want you to take some notes on here and then write a number on there. Is this a 5? Is this a 6? And then why is it a 5 or a 6? Oh, hey, why is this an 8? And then at the end of your adventure with your client, right, you're going to reflect back on those things. So we saw 2 houses today, and this one was a 2 and this one was an 8. What do you think about this one? Are we ready to make a move on this one? Let's get reconnected with our mortgage broker, get the pre-approval letter updated. Oh, by the way, if you're shopping without a pre-approval letter, stop right now. Stop. Because that is not a client. That is someone that's wasting your time. So You got to get these people approved, and you got to help them make a decision. You don't have to sell them anything, but you do have to ask the right questions to get their mind in the mode of we're out here looking for a house.
Yep.
I wanted to wrap this thing up, but when something's interesting, it's interesting. So, Joshua, I like what you had to say there, because when you're using those numbers, real estate agents listening, you are activating the logical decision-making part of the brain, not the emotional decision-making part of the brain. Because when your client sees numbers, they are thinking numerically. So the odds of them being more honest with you on a numerical scale is much greater versus what did you think about that house, Joshua? Because the answers your client will give you when what did you think about that are going to be, it was pretty good. It was okay, but it's not logical.
Right.
So throwing those numbers on there, I mean, again, the tips that are flying on this call today are unbelievable, but you want to keep it real with a client. Do what Joshua was telling you to do now. Don't wait. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Do it immediately.
Because you're not going to collect $200 if you don't ask those questions. You're
just going
to waste your time.
Anyway, look at the two of us talking too much when we've got our awesome guest. But at any rate, Ollie, any last words of wisdom for the folks that joined us today? It was so good to see you, bro. So good to see you.
Great to see you too. I think I could just go back to the statement that I made earlier, the bulletproof mindset part, and just that everything is going to be okay. We're entering a market, and once again, we know what the timestamp is. We now have 1 hour and 5 minutes before the Fed makes their decision. I really do think this is a pretty pivotal time today specifically. So just know that if you're doing your stuff and if you're consistent with your daily actions that you need to do, everything will be okay.
Abundance mindset, not scarcity.
100%.
Well, my friends, Joshua Grossman, do you have any last words for any real estate agents that might be joining us today?
I mean, I would encourage you guys to, reach out to Oliver. If he's not in your area, I bet he knows somebody that is. Like, he sounds like he is a guy that definitely likes to make connections and help people out. And if I was a new agent, or even if I was a seasoned agent, maybe in a new market, and I don't have an existing partner that I'm super happy with, then I would be looking for people to help you grow your business. And it sounds like that's what Oliver's all about. And that's what you should be looking for. So, new or existing, make sure you pay attention to what's going on. There's some great keys out there, and I bet he even has more knowledge if you were to call him personally.
Yeah, the best way you can contact me is find me on Instagram. It's just @MortgageOliver. And I think you'll be impressed with there's way more analogies. There's tons of content. We know there's an announcement going out in about an hour here about the Fed's announcement today. So I promise I'll be adding value there as well. My goal with that account is to create shareable content for real estate agents that will help their clients that are watching their Instagram account to make decisions accordingly, based on where the market is. So always be closing, right, peeps?
Yep.
Absolutely. The bread and butter of the business. But at any rate, my friends, again, Oliver, thank you so much for being with us. Joshua, good nuggets thrown out today, my friend. Good stuff.
Thank you.
And from real estate professionals across the board, whether you're in mortgage, you're a realtor, real estate professional across, underwriter, whoever you are that are here watching, thanks for joining us. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe on the video. Shoot us a comment if you want to have first access to new content and webinars that we're offering as well. Be sure to DM us or put your contact information below, and we'll keep you apprised of all the new stuff.
All of our contact information is in the comments below. You can reach out to any of us, like, subscribe, share. That keeps you updated on what we're doing. And we're just going to keep growing this channel and bringing out as much good information as we possibly can. And, this is free. So,
right. Until next time, my friends, thank you for joining us. If you picked up on even one little thing today that helps you out, I'm going to consider that a win. Hope you do too, my friends. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.